Hi, I'm Denise, and I'm here with Rexburg Update, and I'm here with Erick Salcedo, a student here at BYU, Idaho, and he's actually running for mayor. So Erick, tell us, why are you running for mayor?
That's a question I've been asked time and time again, and my best answer to that is that I think that it's a time in our country and in our community also where our demographic, we're not as involved as we should be. And our future and a lot of the decisions that are being made right now play a huge role in where we can go. We have graduates that are graduating nowadays in elementary education and a bunch of other fields that don't have opportunities, and often because of the decisions that are made at a governmental level. If we have any hope of having an impact on that, if we have any hope of being a better for our community and for our world, we need to get involved. That's one major reason. And another major reason is that Rexburg is a special place. It's a beautiful place. It's where families are formed oftentimes for a lot of us. We come for our education. And and that culture doesn't just happen. It happens because people have worked hard at establishing a culture where we give rides to each other if we're walking home from the store, where we hold the door open for each other and we smile at each other in the halls and on the streets. Those kinds of things don't just happen. If we don't get involved with our community and get involved with the government, those things could die. And I think that spirit is what's made America great in the past and will make America great in the future. But our ability to really harness that spirit and put it into our own lives depends on our involvement in local and state and federal politics and everything that we do.
Mm-hmm. All right. And you're a student here at BYU, Idaho. Right. You're a younger man. Mm-hmm. That's probably been pointed out to you. What do you think you have? What advantage do you have over our current mayor here in Rexburg? Yeah,
that's been pointed out time and time again. I've noticed I'm younger than our other two. My two opponents. And one thing that it does definitely do, it puts in connection to the younger generation. It puts us in a connection to our government. I think that our governmental leaders, they're not bad. We have good leaders. And I have to say that I appreciate everything that they've done. And I think that they've done a great job. I think that we can do more. I definitely think that we can do more with the help and inclusion of students and of youth alike. The mayor's office has a youth advisory board. I'd love to have a college advisory board where we have BYU students and alumni involved in helping us make better decisions at a governmental level. My age, it can be an advantage, it can be a disadvantage for a lot of people. I really don't think of it. I think that one of the greatest advantages that I think that we have and that I love about it is that I have a lot of students coming up to me and saying, I didn't know we could vote, but they're very excited about it, they want to get involved. And beyond that, it's an example to not just students, it's an example to high school students that we have, to elementary kids, and to kids that are growing up, that this is America. If you want something, you don't have to wait till a certain age or or till something happens or till somebody appoints you. You go out there and you get it done. And I think that's one message that's come across very clearly to all youth everywhere here in Rexburg, and we've really awakened up to that fact, and that's going to make a huge impact on how things are going to be run from here on out.
Okay, perfect. You obviously, in order to run a city, you need some experience. What experience do you have that puts you?
That's a question that's constantly been asked, and this is it's important to be able to realize this, that Donna Benfield and Rich Woodland are people that have long been members of our community and that have long been members of Rexburg, and I wholeheartedly believe that there's a huge staff of people that have been pivotal making Rexburg what it is today. And these people don't quit and won't stop if I get elected. There'll be a huge support system to be there. On a personal level, I'm a political science major. I've studied for a long time now how government should work. And my biggest key to having success in the office, I believe, is bringing us back to a representative democracy. My core belief is this, that I'm for infrastructure growth, I'm for economic growth, I'm for expanding our streets and getting our street lights better and our traffic lights better, and I think that we can all agree on that. Beyond that, people ask me constantly, what do you plan on doing as mayor? And my answer is, whatever you tell me to do. Okay. Because that's the core of what government should be, is that we as representatives and as leaders do what our constituents tell us to do. And so that's the greatest experience that I think anybody could ever bring to the table, is a willingness and a humility to listen to the people that they represent and to do what they want them to do.
Okay. If you were to become mayor, say you won the election, what would be your first notion?
My first notion, I think that we have needs that are immediate that we need to be able to start taking care of immediately. And so we have our street lights that need to be put up more.
Yeah.
We have one quick and easy fix to a lot of our traffic problem is to synchronize the lights that we have on 2nd East and on Main. Okay. Personally, I drive down to Walmart, and when I hit every red light, I could go crazy, and I think that's not just a student problem. That's anybody would go crazy with all those lights that you hit. And so synchronizing those lights are first and foremost. As our population grows, widening our streets is going to become more and more important. I support a shuttle system that we could have public-private partnerships to help pay for that, to be able to get our pedestrians where they need to go in a faster and more efficient and cheap manner. Okay. That will help us reduce a lot of risks on our roads. And this is key also. Our emergency services need to be reinforced and need to always have constant attention. Luckily in Rexburg, usually statistically you find a growth in, when there's a growth in population, there's a growth in criminality. And we haven't seen that in Rexburg. But it's not luck. It's because we have officers of the law that have worked very hard and overworked themselves to make that happen. Mm-hmm. What I want to make sure is that in all this growth and all this progress that we have, we do not forget them. And that we're making sure that budget-wise that they are taken care of, and that they're taken care of in their own personal income. So constant police presence is a major part of what we need to do right off the bat, and reinforcing our infrastructure right off the bat.
Okay. Some students have said, from a student perspective, that a lot of, in Rexburg, police don't have much else to do. They're already on the watch. They're always stopping people. There's always parking tickets, pedestrian tickets. A lot of students don't like the non-texting rule in the crosswalk. Some students are confused. Can I text, but can I play with my iPod on the crosswalk? How could you clarify to that, or how would you solve that problem?
Well, yeah, I think that's a couple of issues that get brought up when it comes to that. First, I wholeheartedly believe our police department. I've seen them and I've talked to them more than a couple of times. I work at Horkley's and they come in and we talk over and over again about what they do. And as students, naturally, we see the kind of enforcement that usually the laws we break are what makes us deal with the police. So when we're speeding or we're breaking traffic laws, that's the aspect of the police that we see. But I can assure you that they're doing a great deal more than stopping students or just giving us tickets for this or for that. They are doing a phenomenal job, and they're doing a lot of things that we don't see. And that's the way policing works, that oftentimes they do things that we don't see, but that maintain our security and our safety anyway. We don't have a lot of the problems that a growing city like ours usually has in a lot of cities of our similar size. So, but that happens because our policing is working. Now, on a different note, you mentioned the texting law and how the laws can be confusing. And that's true. When we first come into Rexburg, the first things that we have to realize is that this is a different state, this is a different city, and they have their laws. And I think that it's the responsibility of every individual citizen to learn what those laws are. Okay. I support something where in the Standard Journal and in the Scroll, we have news releases explaining to students exactly what the differences could be, so that they're aware of what those differences are, and so that they can follow and abide by the laws. Outside of that, I still believe in a limited government. Okay. I believe that a government's gone too far when they tell you how to cross the street or how to park your car. And so as far as the texting law goes, I disagree with it. I think that personally, I think it's a waste of resources, and I think that our city has bigger fish to fry when it comes to that kind of thing. And when it comes to students crossing the street, you should look both ways. That's not a law anybody ever said. That's just good advice from mom and dad. Look both ways. And so that's just something that you should be doing. If they're telling you that you shouldn't text in the crosswalk, well, and if texting really risks your life, then you should go back to elementary school and not worry about college just now. I really don't think that we have students that have that much of a problem with that. I think that the government has overstepped its bounds by making laws on how to cross the street. But as far as it goes, I think that students still need to be aware and still need to be informed of the laws of the place where they reside.
Okay. Does that mean you would probably change the law?
The government, I don't think, has any business, like I said, telling people how to cross the street or how to park their cars. And I think that a government that has told kids, that tells children that you can't throw a snowball in the wintertime and a water balloon in the summertime, is a government that's gone too far.
Okay.
So would I be for getting rid of those laws? Absolutely.
All right. Well, what is the first issue that is affecting our community?
Growth. Growth is our first and primary issue. By 2014, estimates say that the growth will be 25,000 students here on an annual basis between full-time, part-time, and off-track students. Okay. And so while we have that growth, our immediate attention should always be making sure that our infrastructure is there to support it. We need to make sure, and sometimes it's behind the scenes things that we don't notice, but it's our electricity, our gas line, our water lines need to be able to handle it. Mayor Woodland has talked about it several times about the need to enforce our water, and I believe he's absolutely right. I think that we need to be able to be paying special attention to that and making sure that our economy grows in a way that's orderly and in an orderly fashion. So our growth is our first and key issue that we're going to have to deal with, and preparing for the growth that we can anticipate coming.
So how time-consuming has campaigning been?
It's been pretty time-consuming. I'm a little bit of the underdog. I don't have as much funding as the other guys, or as much of a network as the other guys. So a lot of it has been pretty time-consuming. I'm paying for it with the 2 jobs I have, and so like between the jobs, between this, and also I have a church calling, it's pretty demanding. I'm pretty well booked throughout the day, and sleep has become a bit of a commodity. But I love it. I love what I'm doing, and it is time consuming. I have a Facebook page that when people look me up, it's Erick for Mayor of Rexburg. Okay. And I personally run that. I personally answer every question that's on there, and I'm pleased to say that usually if a question's posted, it's within the hour that it gets answered. Okay. Maximum 24 hours. That Facebook page has saved me a lot of time, only because I can answer it at my leisure. You'll notice sometimes that the answers come at 1 or 2 in the morning after I get off of work or before I go into work, and so like it opens up a lot of flexibility, and also it opens up a lot of communication. People can talk to me through that and get a real feel for who I am as a person and what I want to do for them. So as far as time, I have spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of energy and a lot of a lot of money on it. Well, it seems like a lot to me, but it's all worthwhile, and I enjoy what I'm doing. It is something that I think has been very fulfilling.
Good. Do you think you have a good support system from the students here at BYU Idaho?
I've gotten a great response, a phenomenal response, just from, naturally from friends and from people that have encouraged me to do this in the past, but beyond that, from people that I've never met before. Students that have the same concerns as we do, that have the same concerns as I do, the same desires as I do to unify and to have a good working community, and the network that's been grown, and people posting and reposting and asking and getting involved has been huge. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's something that definitely has encouraged me. Because I realize what we're doing. The difficulty of what we're doing is that our demographic at a national level, our student demographic, statistically, we don't vote. Mm-hmm. We're asking students to do something that as a statistic, we don't do. Mm-hmm. But more and more they've gotten interested, and that gives me hope for what they can do and what is within our reach. Okay.
So students can vote?
Absolutely, they can. One thing, and that's one thing that I think that they constantly have been asked. Basically, the requirements are that you have to be a United States citizen. Okay. You have to be 18 years of age. You can't have committed a felony. Right. And you can't, and you You take your student ID, you take your ID to the local county office, and there's one more requirement. You have to have proof that you've been here for the last 30 days.
Okay.
So essentially, if you got into the school, you didn't break, you have no felonies, and it's easier to register to vote than it is to donate plasma here. So they don't ask you for a physical, so that's good too.
That's good.
And also we have a forum that we're going to have on November 1st at the Romance Theater, where it's a meet your candidates. Standard Journal is going to be the moderator, and so that'll really give you a good essence of who you should vote for. I think that's one important thing is that I wanted to mention also is that voting just because I'm a student or voting me in is just because I'm a student shouldn't be enough. You know, get to know your candidates, and if you're a student and you like Donna Benfield or you like Rich Woodland, go ahead and vote for whoever you feel is right. That's the whole idea behind the voting process. Okay. And so I would just encourage everyone to get aware and get well involved with everything that's going on, and vote however your conscience dictates you or however your feelings and your reasoning dictate you.
Oh, okay. Are you ready?
Am I ready? You know, it's one of those things. It's I think that it's oftentimes like when you take a next big step in your life, there's things that you're ready for, and there's things that you know that you got to get ready for. And it's like when coming to college, you knew that you were going to take these classes and these classes, but maybe you weren't very well aware of where you were going to live, where your job was going to be, who your friends were going to be. But those things come with time, and I sincerely think that we have a great support system in Rexburg. We have a great deal of local and community leaders that are more than willing to roll up their sleeves and get involved with this also, in spite of whoever might be mayor. And so, am I ready? Absolutely. I'm ready for whatever challenges may come, and I'm ready to learn and ready to listen more than anything.
Thanks so much,
Thank you very much.
That is all. Be sure to vote on November 8th if you can. Thank you so much. That's all.